Hey folks, Jay from Cold Nights here, and we are back for another Coffees and Consoles. So today, I thought we'd try something a little different, alright? So, as you all know, I'm a huge fan of energy drinks, so today's coffee is going to be a Monster Java Salted Caramel. So we're going to try out this bizarre coffee energy drink hybrid and see how it is. Then, we're going to cover some pickups that I've got over the last week, and then we're going to go on another retro treasure hunt, this time through an unsorted box of N64 and NES games. So, without further ado, let's try out this coffee. Yeah, the wonderful crack there of the can. Alright, cans up. Huh, that's a unique taste. It almost tastes like a slightly watered down coffee milkshake. Good taste though. You definitely get a hint of the caramel, definitely like the coffee and like a milky taste. Definitely not too bad. We'll definitely hit some more of that as we're going through. So, let's see what we have picked up in the last week. So, the first pickup we have comes from the mail, and as you know, I'm a huge fan of Bleach, and I've added another brilliant Japan exclusive Soy Fawn figure to my Bleach lineup. I love the pose here. I love her original traditional uniform here. And this is a pretty nice figure. Now I got this one used. I didn't pay too much for it. I got a pretty good sale on it. Definitely excited to add this beautiful Soy Fawn to the collection. So, pretty neat. Alright, then, before we get into actual games, I showed this off in the Discord, but I'm definitely loving this. This incredible Pokemon lenticular controller for the Switch, wireless, and it has Gengar and your boy Pikachu. This one released fairly recently, around the time of the Switch 2, and I love the look of this. And as you guys know, I have a ton of controllers, so this is going to be a great addition to that controller collection. Find a place to sit that down. Okay, now it's time to get into some games. So we're going to continue with the mailbag, and I was on a pretty big kick of streaming PS2 games a couple weeks ago when we were doing Suikoden Tactics, and I saw some great videos on pirate video games, and I had featured one on my channel called Shipwrecked, and it made me kind of want to look into it, and I found one that looked really cool, and I found someone offering two for a pretty good price as like a combo on eBay. So I picked it up, and the first one is the lesser known of the two, and that is Pirates: Legend of the Black Buccaneer. This one looks pretty decent. This wasn't the main reason I picked up the bundle, but it looks pretty cool and it's complete, so we'll definitely take that. But the real reason I picked it up is Pirates: The Legend of Black Cat. So, from a time before EA turned evil, the gameplay on this one actually looks pretty solid. It looked like a pretty solid action-adventure game with some pretty cool like pirate exploration. So I'm definitely excited to play this one. Maybe we'll get it on stream. But two great pirate-themed additions to the collection, and certainly excited to play Legend of Black Cat, and maybe to try out Legend of the Black Buccaneer. So, two pretty cool pirate pickups. Alright, the last one from the mailbag is an awesome, I think this is like a custom, I guess you'd call it a reproduction, for the Jaguar, and it is Total Carnage. This looks pretty neat. And this is for my good friend Tristan, as kind of a consolation prize for Jeopardy. We kind of ended up in a two-way tie, but it was so nice of him to send out this beautiful cart And from what I understand, this is an actual Jaguar game that I can actually play on my Atari Jaguar, which is pretty neat. When he offered it, I was like, that sounds awesome, because I actually have a Jaguar and I can actually check that out. So, super excited for this one. And then we have our GameStop pickups. So, of course, you guys know I'm a sucker for amiibos. So, when I saw these dropped, I had to grab at least 2 of the 4. The first one I picked up is Riju. Love it. I love the champions from both games, and the set of like new age younger champions in Tears of the Kingdom are so cool, and I'm so glad to add some of them to my collection. So Riju was the first one I picked up. Wicked cool. She is just as cool as Urbosa. Great characters. And then, of course, you guys know I love Mipha, and therefore I absolutely adore Sidon. And this is Prince Sidon, all grown up and badass. So excited for the new Tears of the Kingdom Hyrule Warriors game. And hopefully these guys feature prominently in it. Pretty neat though. And I loved playing as Sidon and Riju in Age of Calamity. So these are really cool to add to the collection. And like I said, they did put out all of them. But I only wanted to pick up a few because all at once they dropped the Street Fighter 6 amiibos, the Tears of the Kingdom Guardian amiibos, or Champion amiibos, and they also started releasing Street Fighter 6 amiibo cards. And they had like a pack of like 20, and it looks like it was about like $30 or $40. Like, these are getting really expensive. So as much as I love amiibos and amiibo cards, I kind of have to watch my spending on them, because those can get a little out of control. So, I also picked up, and this is just a cart only, but I picked up Final Fantasy Tactics A2 on the Nintendo DS. I always love anything Final Fantasy Tactics, and any iteration that I can get either of those games in, I absolutely love. So I did not have it on the DS, so I'm glad to add that for sure. That'll go into one of my like craft cases where I keep all the loose games. But then we had some really interesting pickups. So I love the GameCube, so anytime I see GameCube games out in the wild, I always absolutely have to grab them. And the first one I saw when I walked into GameStop the other day was Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. Pretty good looking copy. It is complete, looking pretty good. So always an exciting pickup to find GameCube games, and Prince of Persia ones are pretty good games, so can't beat that. And then, right down the row from it, we had Prince of Persia Warrior Within. As you can see, I paid $9 for it. Pretty neat, love it to death. I don't think I played this one, so I'm actually pretty eager to check that out. But, as you can see, that one is also complete. Looking pretty good, so I'm excited for that one. Love GameCube pickups. And then, one that was pretty special to find. You know me, I'm peeling the stickers off these, because I do like the stickers on a lot of the old retro games that I picked up years ago, but I'm not really as enamored with stickers from recent like GameCube pickups, or GameCube, GameStop pickups. But in their little case, where they usually have DS stuff, every once in a while they'll actually have some boxed DS or 3DS games. And I was so excited to see Pokemon Omega Ruby. I did not have this one. It is awesome to add a boxed Pokemon game that I do not have in the collection. So we're slowly ticking down all the games, but as you can see, they get pretty expensive. But pretty neat to grab that. Super excited to check that one out. So, not looking too shabby. So, those were my recent game pickups for this week. Definitely been spending a lot. I just really love buying games, man. And, you know, recently with the Switch 2 release and all the arguing back and forth about that, I'm completely happy living in the retro life. And, you know, I love my Switch, still playing Switch, but the retro stuff is so fun to pick up. It's so fun to shop for, whether it's in person or online. You really can't beat it. So definitely been enjoying the retro pickups. And speaking of retro, why don't we have another sip here, and then we're going to get into that mystery box full of N64 NES games and see what we can find. Pretty good. Pretty good. So we're going to cut it here, and when we come back, we're going to have that box set up to the left of me, and we're going to go through one at a time, get some prices up on the screen, talk a little bit about the games, and see what we have in that mystery box. Alright, we're back, and we have this. This is very heavy too. This incredible box of retro games. These are games, it's a conglomeration of stuff I had picked up over the years, and something I haven't looked through in quite a while. So I'm excited to look through it. But looking at what's in here, it's actually going to be too much for one video. So I think we're going to leave the NES games for tomorrow, but we're going to go through everything else in the box. And it looks like we have some, a ton of N64. We also have some Genesis, some other stuff in there. So I'm excited to check it out, and we'll get prices up on the screen. I'm excited to research those too, because it's been quite a while since I picked these up. Some of them I don't even remember. So we might have some real good stuff, we might have some junk, but we're about to find out, and I love doing this. So, right off the top, we have a beloved classic, and that is Majora's Mask. And Majora's Mask, most of us have incredible memories. This is the non-lenticular one. If I remember correctly, they were either right around the same price, and I always assumed the lenticular one was more, or this one might have actually become a little more, but I'm curious to see. We'll get that price up on the screen. But great memories of playing Majora's Mask. And then we have, and I love these because the price stickers are still on some of these. So this one, huge memories, Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey. And I know it's a sports game, but I played this to death. It was one of my favorite games as a child on the N64. I got it right away. I loved hockey back then. This was back when the Hartford Whalers were still around. I loved playing as the Whalers because I'm up in New England. $4.99. That's actually probably about what it's worth, but I picked this up from Savers a couple of years ago, and I'm super glad that I have it. Not my original copy, but the memories are still there. Then we have, ooh, this one's a pretty good one probably. Pokemon Snap. I'm not sure where I picked this one up. I don't have a memory of this one. But I'm super excited to have it. And this is one I actually didn't experience because I was not a huge Pokemon fan way back in the day. That's a more, I don't want to say recent, but an adult obsession I've had. So I'm super excited to eventually check this one out. I imagine it's worth a couple bucks, but definitely pretty cool to add to the collection. Then we have another one with great memories. I loved Cruisin' USA and Cruisin' World. These games were such fun racing games, and this was back before things like Forza. Like, these were top of the line. This, like San Francisco Rush, those were great games. So Cruisin' World, definitely an awesome racing game, great memories, and a great pickup. Now let's see what else we have. Ooh, another one I loved a ton. And this is another one that I originally had. Wow! This one still has a cash converter sticker on it. Turok the Dinosaur Hunter. Love to see it. So, this has a cash converter sticker for $24.99 from way back in the day. And wherever I picked this up, it was listed for $5. So, pretty neat to have those memories attached to the cart. Then, we have, look at that. See, if I had put these in order before, it might have made more sense. The original Cruisin' USA. So cool to have both of them in the collection. I might actually have two cards of this one. But I loved this game to death. And I remember being like, however old I was, 11, 12 years old. And I thought like the digitized girl in a bikini was like the coolest thing ever. I know that's embarrassing, but it was a super fun racing game either way. Alright, what else do we have? and we are continuing the Racing Mania, and we have Multi-Racing Championship, MRC. I don't remember this one as much, but this is cool because it has the original rental sticker from Taylor Brook Video. Please return by 6 p.m. sharp. And it has the $2.99 sticker from when I picked it up at Savers. This stuff to me is literally video game history. I love seeing these rental stickers from all over the country. I love seeing stickers from pawn shops, Savers, Goodwill. Love that stuff to death. It gives games that otherwise are kind of cool some really cool history and additional meaning and memories. Man, this is pretty good. All right. What do we have next? Oh my god, this is like all the classics. GoldenEye. Love this to death. I remember in the Severnaya stage, the enemies would constantly respawn from this one hallway, and me and my friends would compete to see who had the endurance to kill the most enemies and not die. Loved this game to death. And the multiplayer was bomb. Everyone loved it. This is obviously a classic. You can get it in a ton of ways. It's been remade for a ton of consoles. But GoldenEye, one of the original classic shooters. Alright. Next up we have Yoshi's Story. Another classic. So many people love this game. So cool to see. I didn't play it a ton. I know that my wife had some pretty fond memories of playing this one. But it's pretty cool to have, and I'm sure, being a first-party Nintendo game, it's probably worth a couple bucks. Pretty neat. Alright. Then we have basically the mascot of my beloved hamburger helper, Glover. This one, I played a little when I was younger, and I wasn't really a huge fan. But as I grew older and developed an obsession with Hamburger Helper, I was like, he looks just like the Hamburger Helper mitt. And look at this, another beautiful Savers sticker. It's probably not worth too much more than that. But whenever I see the Savers stickers, it's been a long time since I've been to Savers. So these were probably picked up, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. So pretty neat to finally dig these out of this box that they were all shoved into. So good old Glover. Alright, we have a couple more N64 games. Now this one definitely has some damage on the front from a price sticker, but this is San Francisco Rush Extreme Racing with a terrible price sticker completely plastered on the front that I definitely cannot get off without destroying the card. It would definitely pull the label off, but still great game. Great memories playing this one. Definitely racing classics along with the cruising games. Alright, there's so many in here, holy moly. That's why I'm saying, guys, like, we're not going to be able to go through all these today, because just the N64 games are quite a lot of games, so we've still got quite a few to dig through here. I got at least probably 10 more. Okay, next up, we have, you know you love it, Paper Mario. This one is actually a pretty clean cart. I would love to have it complete, but this game I completely fell in love with. I loved this so much. I remember when it came out on the Wii Virtual Console, I picked it up again, and I have such great memories of playing through it. I love grinding, and even in that game I was like constantly grinding battles. I love the system, and it made me love all of the games in that franchise so much. So, great game, and I'm sure it's for a couple bucks at least. And we're continuing right on with the classics. Donkey Kong 64. I always loved the alternatively colored carts. This yellow one obviously looks beautiful. Donkey Kong 64, not everyone's favorite Donkey Kong game in the franchise, but definitely a cool one to have. Alright. Then, continuing on with the... Ooh, look, see, I should have ordered these before. This is the lenticular version of Majora's Mask. So we have the lenticular version and the non-lenticular version. Pretty cool to have both of those variations in the collection. And again, I'm sure this one's worth a couple bucks. All right. Ooh, Quest 64. One of the few JRPG type games in the N64 library. I actually never played through this one, and I remember when, I don't remember when it was, but whenever I saw this, I'm like, oh, I gotta pick it up and try it out. I've seen people that say it actually has a decent amount of value to it, and it's fun, and I've seen other people say they never should have made it. So, I'm curious to see what it turns out to be in my opinion, but cool to be in the collection either way. Oh wow, definitely another classic. Perfect Dark. Incredible game. Incredible game. Definitely, I would actually love to play this one again. This and GoldenEye. So similar. I'm so excited to play these older games, especially these like shooter type ones. And this one still has that sticker from Savers for $7.99. Not sure what it's worth. We'll have it up on the screen, but definitely cool to have in the collection. All right, we have 1080 snowboarding. The extreme sports were getting out of control back then. I remember we had this. We had Tony Hawk. This is such a cool game. I loved all of the extreme games, whether it was the actual extreme games on PlayStation, Tony Hawk, Matt Hoffman, stuff like Shaun White and 1080. Awesome stuff. We all thought we were extreme sports athletes at one point. Though the truth of the matter is, if you got me on a snowboard or a skateboard, I would definitely probably die. But it was fun to play on the game. Alright, we have Hey You Pikachu. Now this one I believe used like the Nintendo voice modulator. I don't have that, so I don't even know how playable this would be. But I definitely would like to kick it up, you know, throw it in the console and see what kind of functionality it still has. Or at least see the menus and stuff, because this is one I didn't experience, and definitely pretty cool as a Pokemon fan to have in the collection, even if there's not probably a lot of use for it. Okay, what else do we have here? Ooh, Forsaken 64. If you remember correctly, this one had like this beautiful woman with like curly, like reddish, like blonde hair, and like a tattoo as like the marketing for it. I don't know if she's actually in the game or what kind of game this even is. I never played it, but it's rated mature, so it's probably pretty violent. But either way, pretty cool to have in the collection. All right, whew, this one, you know, I shared on the channel like a week ago when I picked up a beautiful complete in box copy, loose card of Wave Race. Wave Race and Wave Race Blue Storm are two of my favorite games ever. This is just one of the most incredible games. I showed it off. I was playing Blue Storm, and then the other day I was just like doing random races of this game on NSO. And I love NSO. A lot of people don't like subscription services, but I like to be able to check out some of these old games without having to dig the carts up. So digital gaming and subscription gaming isn't completely evil. It has its uses. But definitely a classic. And we have one of my all-time favorite wrestling games. Me and my friends would hook up all 4 controllers and sit there and basically party all night. We'd have pizza, we'd be slamming Mountain Dews. This is WCW versus NWO World Tour. This game is probably the game I had the most fun with multiplayer. Even more so than any sports game, even more so than even GoldenEye. We played this so much, and we all had memorized all the moves for our favorite wrestlers. This was the peak of wrestling gaming for sure. And that looks like it's the end of our N64 games. I have one sad, lonely, kind of torn up Genesis game, Wolverine's Adamantium Rage. Looks pretty neat. This is one I heard that is really, really fun to play. This one is pretty torn up, but hopefully it will work, and I can definitely check that out. But tomorrow, it looks like we have probably about 20 or 25 NES games in that box to check out. I love going through this old stuff and having those great memories, or seeing things that I haven't played or I don't remember picking up that I'm now excited to check out so many years later. So guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Let's have one more swig of this Monster Java salted caramel. Pretty good. Guys, I'm really enjoying making this series. I really hope that you guys are enjoying it and that it's a more personal setting and that we can have a good discussion on the Discord, in the comments. If you guys want to join the Discord and you're not a part of it, just message me on Twitter or Discord. Twitter, it's Cold Nights Got Me 1. On Discord, it's Cold Nights Gaming. I certainly appreciate you guys coming out. Please subscribe, share, and enjoy the coffee and consoles. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, stay creepy. Bye, guys.